All right, guys, check this out. I want to talk about a car manufacturer you've not heard me talk about on this channel before. It's BYD. Most Americans have never heard of this company before for good reason. It's a Chinese car manufacturer. I bring this up because this is the most growing car manufacturer in the world right now. And if you haven't heard of this brand, you got to check out some of the stuff they're making. What I want to show you in this video is look at some of the technology they're bringing to the market and the SUVs and trucks. Let's do this. All right, so BYD, it's a car company out of China that's been around for about 25 years. I've been in the automotive industry about 20 years. I wasn't really familiar with them until about 6 years ago. And they have really came a long ways. In China market, people typically didn't consider their product over, say, some of the domestics or European car manufacturers like Ford or General Motors or Volkswagen. Those have been really popular brands in the China market, but BYD has stepped up their game, increased their quality, reduced their pricing, and they're doing what they're good at, bringing more value to people. And what's wild is some of the stuff they're bringing to the market, I see why it's getting so popular, and I keep thinking, when is this gonna come to the United States market? So if you haven't heard of the YangWang U8, this is their new SUV. It actually looks really good, but what's wild about this is the technology in this thing. This is a plug-in hybrid electric SUV that floats on water. I'm not even joking. There's dozens of videos, and I'll just show you a quick little peek on this technology. But this thing, literally, they floated across the river. It's even got a platform that you can add on the top of the roof where it will release a drone out of the vehicle. I mean, it's truly wild. I mean, look at the interior. It's got like some sort of Alcantara suede roof material. There's already several YouTubers talking about this thing because I think a lot of people are realizing, is this going to make it to the US market? I know there's tariffs and stuff on these products, but man, there's pretty packed full of content. If you go to the BYD US website, the only vehicle you're going to see is the new BYD Han, HAN, and this is just a sedan. It kind of almost looks like a Toyota Corolla from the side profile, but this is their electric vehicle, and you can kind of see the interior looks pretty nice. You can see pretty big infotainment display. I'll be curious. I have not sat in one of these, but I have been to China before for work, and I've sat in some of the Neos there, and they're pretty nice vehicles. But I'll be curious to see when this thing comes to market. But you can see the range they're claiming, 375 miles, is pretty good. And then there's the back of it. Now, if we go to their pickup trucks, you can see they're going after the full range, just like a lot of the other manufacturers in the world. They've got their full electric semis. You can see they've got, looks like this will be like a class 3. Yeah, like a class 3 kind of minivan transit kind of size. And then if you go to, I'm wondering if this means like class 6 truck. And that looks like it's electric also. And then they've got a class 8. Yeah, it does look, it looks like, I'm assuming the ETH8 means class 8 truck, and this will be like a tug truck for different port entries and whatnot. But you can see they're coming after the market in different areas. And then I looked up on their website just to kind of see. I didn't realize they already have a facility in the United States. I was not aware of this. And it's a 500,000 square foot facility in California. This is wild. And I think I read something that it's a union workforce. This is wild. But anyhow, what's interesting about BYD is if we go back about, I want to say it's about 15 years, Warren Buffett, Berkshire Hathaway, they invested in this company. I think he just recently pulled out a lot of his shares, but this company is taking market share like mad. I mean, there's a lot of interest around this car manufacturer. General Motors, Ford, Stellantis, Volkswagen, they're all pretty concerned about this company, and for good reason. They're bringing some pretty decent products to the market at a good price, and everyone in America is thinking, is this a threat to the domestic car manufacturers? Right now, BYD is saying they're not, but I think you could kind of look at it and say, well, right now, BYD is taking a ton of market share from General Motors, Volkswagen, and some of the, I'll say, Western car manufacturers in the China market in the last 2-3 years. but also they're building plants in Mexico. And right now I've got some friends in Mexico telling me that they've been seeing a lot of the BYDs on the road in Mexico City. So right now BYD is saying there's no plans to sell these low-cost $23,000 electric vehicles, or in this case, $14,000 to $20,000 electric vehicles in the US. But if they're doing it everywhere else in the world, I don't see what's going to hold them back. Now, this is a breakout just showing top electric car manufacturers in the past few years. Tesla was number one, no surprise, but BYD is already in third place with also another Chinese car manufacturer, SAIC. The only other Western companies you got is Volkswagen, really in fourth place. Now, this was May 31st of 2022. So here's where we're at today. In that last article was in 2022, you could still see about a 20% gap in market share between Tesla and BYD. Fast forward, look at this. BYD, look at this growth. They've basically caught up to 99% of the market share of Tesla, pure EV. That is wild. And I don't see this slowing down. Now, I want to show you just a real quick clip.
YangWang Motors officially announced that its first model, the YangWang U8, will be launched on September 20th. The YangWang U8 was officially unveiled in January of this year, and pre-sales began in April at a price of 1.098 million renminbi, approximately 160,000 US dollars. In the latest official video, the YangWang U8 introduces a new high-tech feature, which is the life-saving emergency flotation capability. The emergency flotation capability of the YangWang U8 refers to the vehicle's ability to move and steer while floating in water in case of emergencies. This feature mainly utilizes passive trigger technology. When the user actively activates the water crossing mode via the main screen and starts crossing water, the vehicle monitors the water depth, vehicle posture,
This is just wild,
and other parameters through various sensors. If the conditions for flotation are met, it automatically triggers the emergency flotation mode. So, what can be achieved with the emergency flotation feature of the YangWang U8? According to BYD, when the vehicle accidentally enters a deep water area and begins floating, it can keep the interior free of visible standing water for up to 30 minutes. During this time, the vehicle can still move forward and steer. The YangWang U8's emergency flotation capability brings a new dimension to passenger safety. The vehicle's excellent sealing ensures that minimal water enters the interior for at least 30 minutes, giving occupants a significantly increased chance of survival in water. Furthermore, the ability to move and steer the vehicle while afloat greatly enhances the likelihood of self-rescue or getting closer to rescue.
All right, this is crazy. I wonder if this is going to be the future of electric vehicles. Is everybody going to be bringing vehicles to the market that kind of floats? I can't imagine the amount of mess that people are going to start doing trying to float these things across oceans and rivers and ponds. It's going to be ridiculous. So I'm sure these manufacturers are going to probably squash the idea. But regardless, a car that floats is pretty darn cool. And then this is the all new recent news. This is the BYD Shark. So here's what's interesting. These guys are smart. They realize in the North American market right now, people are kind of like resistant, not kind of, big time resistant to electric vehicles taking over market share. I get it. I think electric vehicles would be awesome when I can get 600-700 miles of range and I got to wait 2 minutes to charge it. Right now, the technology is not there, but what technology is there are plug-in hybrid electric vehicles. The first domestic that's going to bring one of substantial range to the US market is going to be Ram with the Ram Charger. But look what BYD's bringing out right now, the 2024 BYD Shark. This is the plug-in hybrid truck. They're already got a 500-mile combined range electric plug-in hybrid vehicle. They're saying they're not going to bring it to the US market, but I wouldn't be surprised if something happens in Mexico, maybe in Europe. But these guys are they're not dumb, and they realize hybrid is probably a really good option for the next 10 to 20 years. It kind of in ways reminds me a little bit of like a Ford Maverick, but you can see that the interior is more simplistic, but it's still got a decent size infotainment display and 62 miles of electric only range, not too bad. I mean, it's got pretty good speed, 5.7 seconds, 0 to 60. I'll be real curious to see what the price is going to be on this. 5,000 pounds towing. There we go, $53,000. So it's still not cheap, But it is interesting that they're bringing these sort of things to the market, but it'll be available in Mexico in the coming weeks. Pretty wild. So what I would tell you is keep an eye on this brand. It'll be interesting how this video ages in the future. Did BYD start capturing more global market share? Is it going to just basically be China, a little bit of Mexico, a little bit of Europe? It's hard to say, but what I can tell you is the Volkswagen CEO is concerned. He's made multiple mentions of the market share that they've lost in China markets and how well they're doing with their pricing and their technology. It kind of caught them off guard. And I've heard Jim Farley talk about it. I've heard Elon Musk talk about it. Everybody realizes that BYD is a huge threat to the global automotive industry. So the domestic, Western, and the legacy car manufacturers are really going to have to step up their game. And I'm wondering, are we entering a phase in the automotive industry that was like the 1970s when the domestic and the legacy car manufacturers' quality was starting to struggle? And that's when Toyota, Honda, and Nissan came online and really started taking market share. And it really pushed Ford, GM, Chrysler, and them to step up their game. So it's going to be interesting to see. I wonder if BYD is going to be the equivalent of what happened in the 70s with the Japanese car manufacturers. So anyhow, I hope you found this video helpful. I'll be posting more videos on this brand when I see more coming to the market. But this is something I'd ask you to take a look at. Let me know what you think. Leave some comments down below. Thanks for watching.